back, everybody. It's time for game number 2. Cloud9 versus CLG. Now, last game, I'm pretty sure we had to report everybody at Cloud9 to the principal's office for the amount of bullying they were doing to poor old Jenkins there on CLG. They had a plan from the start. They went for it. It worked. Something's got to change here. CLG want to survive game 2.
Yeah, I don't know if the plan was, blabber, just kill everybody while getting both crabs as well.
Seems like a good plan.
We'll just own the map.
As a jungler, I like that plan.
Everybody go topside. Yeah.
That's a good plan.
I mean, honestly, yeah, that game was a beatdown. There are some good things that the analyst desk touched on for CLG. You could tell they still, even while everything was on fire, still remained focused on some of the key paths to victory. The bottom lane, the dive that they pulled off, timing on the second wave that was able to build up. Or the double stacks wave was very well handled. Good job juggling that tower aggro. Just need to clean up so much of the early and mid game that you can actually have a playing field where you can where some of the choices really matter more than, hey, we gotta pull something out of thin air here to be able to make a big comeback.
I mean, even that first kill that Blabber got in the bottom side river against Contracts, that was just silly from Contracts. What the hell was he even doing there? Fighting that Poppy, getting slammed up against the wall, and just getting denied the dash like you were talking about. So hopefully CLG's got a bit better of a read on what they need to do early on here in this game. We'll see how it shakes out. CLG over on the blue side. Does this change a lot about the draft? We will find out. It's still Twisted Fate banned away, still Xin Zhao banned away. Remember that Xin Zhao was not banned out in the first half of the last draft. It was, along with the Lee Sin, banned out in second half when Cloud9 did not pick their jungler in the first half. Jarvan's going to be banned out this time from CLG. They don't want to play to get themselves. They don't want to give it away to Cloud9. The Olaf target ban was a part of last time's first round of bans. Yeah, let's see if they stick with it, or if they're just saying, all right, well, Blabber showed that it doesn't have to be on Olaf for him to run the game.
Yeah, because it'd be kind of fishy if you're playing versus Cloud9 and you don't ban my option is that's okay to pick into Olaf is Trundle. It does not actually save you from the early invades and possible snowballing though, because while Trundle can, red smite duel an Olaf later with the ultimates, if you're able to put the ultimate on Olaf before he pops his own, then he further
you make his resist like
reduce
zero.
Resistances. But early on, and especially off level 1 invades, even playing the Olaf side of it, you can still feel fine and you can still snowball a lot of early game. So it's definitely a fearsome one to walk into. I do like the retained focus on that Jinx for Luger. As I mentioned last time, heading into the draft, one of the biggest things for CLG.
Yep, they get to have the Jinx. Cloud9 decided to ban away the Corki. This was left open last time around. It was the first pick for C9. We saw how very balanced his damage is once he gets a couple of items. So they don't want to be dealing with that any longer. What will be that first pick, though? Ooh, the Lee Sin banned away last time, and this time around, Blabber gets to pilot it.
Very, very happy to do so. I think also one of Contract's best champions right now. He's extremely quick on the Lee Sin plays, so a little bit of a takeaway here on the side of Cloud9, because now you turn it around on Contracts, who, by the way, is also a very good Olaf player, and CLG could try and snowball that way too, because Olaf can brute force plays versus Lee Sin, try and run the jungle camp iteration. It's just that if you play Olaf, you have to keep up that snowballing style the entire time and not let up on the invades, not let up on the jungle camp control. So it does require team focus, and since most of the focus for CLG should be pointing towards bottom lane, I prefer a different pick for jungle.
Okay, Contracts thinking about maybe this could be the answer here. We know Viego has a lot of carry potential there from the jungle, a bit more than a lot of other junglers, and hey, that's going to be the lock-in here for CLG.
Yeah, and we've seen also some of the elusiveness of the champion displayed a lot by Closer, getting out of a lot of situations, using the ultimate immunity frames, unstoppable frames to be able to escape, making good use of the mind games of the Black Mist, trying to use it for zoning in addition to the fighting prowess that it gives you with the extra attack speed. No surprise that Poom's able to get the... actually, they don't go for it early on.
Okay.
Now, you can't play Jinx with a litany of different support champions, and you can play it.
Litany, that's a $10 word.
Yeah, you like that one? All right, I'm gonna take my $10 after this game. Thank you very much. You're gonna have to pay up for that one, but you can use it with, obviously harder engaged champions, which they might do now since their top lane, having locked in Gwen, could really benefit from having a Leona on the team to actually start out the fights. While Gwen can do a lot of damage and create a lot of space and very mobile, they don't have a primary engage.
Wow, Viego's win rate so far in lock-in play is terrible, 17%.
We have been seeing in LCK poke Varus. So they did recent buffs, or not even that recent, in preseason, trying to buff Varus's on hit and attack speed build. So I'm very curious to see if Sven is going to go attack speed or poke. I'm assuming poke right now. Gwen is annoying for both of the builds.
Of course,
because W is
Gwen is immune.
He's equally annoying for both of them. But I would assume it would be poke build for Sven for Varus, and then getting some more long range for Fudge. If you follow the previous strategies that Cloud9 has gone for. So yeah, I assume this is going to be the LCK return of poke Varus down there in answering this Jinx bottom lane.
Now, we don't have mirrored drafts so far. It's bot lane plus jungle for the side of Cloud9 versus AD carry jungle and top laner for the side of CLG. Lulu's been banned away, Akali's been banned away. Victor is still on the table. Corki has been banned out. Neither side has their mid laner yet. So I'm curious, is CLG going to ban the Victor out, or do they think that they're fine playing into that without something on the same tier? Cloud9 still got one more ban to work with themselves. When you're looking back over at CLG, when you were talking about like the Jenkins champion pool, like they're able to ban away some of that pool themselves because they already secured him one of those picks in the Gwen. So the Akali's out of there. Nautilus also taken off the table. They don't want to have that powerful engage opportunity there from the side of CLG in the support role. CLG got one ban left. Is it going to be Victor, or is it going to be something else?
I feel like you should throw the Victor towards Cloud9 simply because it's Fudge. And there you go, there it is, because he has not had a lot of time in mid lane to diversify that champion pool. And guess what? What do you pour your time into when you're practicing? It's the peak of the meta, the Corki, the Victor. So actually forcing something different out of him is going to be fun. Last time this happened, he pulled a semi-top lane champion in the Jace. So very well could be something like that too.
All right, we're hovering over a bunch of different stuff. Stop clowning around now. What's it going to be?
The stop on the hover of Gangplank for the BM.
But it's Akshan. All right.
Now that is the one I'm super excited to see Fudge play. Assuming it is going to be mid, could very well be top as well. And could be going into the hands of Darshan. I know Darshan is in love with the champion as well. So, but I'm hoping that it is Fudge in mid lane, because this would give us some really good extra data on Fudge's mid lane, diversity of types of champions to play. Because Akshan plays very differently, roams so much more than the other mid lane farming, scaling, wave clearing stuff that he has shown previously. And with Akshan, you have just so many options because you have the safety of that E, which covers so much distance and a lot of gank approaches from different junglers or supports. And because you have the extra mobility of going up and down river, this is going to be a full display of mid lane talent package if it goes into the mid lane. Meanwhile, it's already been answered here. Quick pickup. I love Vex.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to pick up this champion, and also very good in this situation. Also charges up passive quite quickly. When Akshan does get those resets, gives you another form of the engage. We mentioned the engage, and CLG shore up their engage and tenfold with a Rakan Vex. Late 2 picks there. Super good. Long range opportunities for them to force fights.
Okay, and with Orianna locked in as the final pick here for Cloud9, that does mean it'll be Darshan piloting the Akshan there in the top side. I have seen so many early kills in laning phase on this champion just in solo queue games and like watching challenger matches and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see if Darshan's able to find those pop-offs here early on, see if his opponent underestimates him a little bit here, because it's going to be exciting, man.
It certainly is. And I know, too, that this is one of the champs that he has put a lot of time into in watching some of his solo queue games. So definitely excited to see him wield it, as every time he's gotten a tank, he has absolutely demolished the game. He absolutely kicked Jenkins out of the last game for like 20 minutes by smashing it so hard, with the help of Blabber and Fudge, admittedly, but also through a lot of solo play. So now he's earned himself the right to have a carry champion.
Exactly.
They're like, amazing tank playing, sir. Now what would you like to pick? You've eaten your vegetables.
He's done the time, and now he gets to do the crime of playing the carry in the top lane and trying to make his opponent's life miserable. Remember, it was Cloud9 who won the first game. It's only best of threes here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So if Cloud9 takes this one, our series is done. However, CLG can try to keep it going here. You can see them all rushing out of the base now, grouped up as 5. Might be looking for something cheeky here in the top side, expecting Darshan to go for a brush play.
Let's see if they find Darshan. Very safe positioning here at the very back of the brush, so I like that. Should be given plenty of time. Does scout it out. That means you need to see movement from the response there. He only saw Jenkins though, so that was one champion, and it's the top lane champion. If he had stayed any more and seen one of the other ones, if he had seen Contracts or Palafox, then you would probably see the response from bottom side of the map where Orianna and Varus move together to try and get the counter ward towards Raptors or towards Red. Only getting vision of one though, you're not safe enough to do that. It could just be Jenkins fishing around, so they don't really know how much of a commitment CLG had up there. And it's a good retake of their red quadrant as well here, grouping up together, not taking any of those unnecessary risks.
Well, one thing I do want to point out here, Hail of Blades on the Varus here for the Keystone, because you were talking about differences in Varus builds and what he might be going here. Also worth pointing out that Luger did go cleanse out of respect for Isles, but Sven still sticking with the heal, not going to have that CC not immunity, cure, whatever you want to call it.
Cleanse.
Yeah, there it is. That's the word I was going at.
Which is the name of the summer spell, so it's a little... Anyways, the build I was talking about for Varus is the lethality build that we saw Teddy play last night in LCK. And, you know, getting the early lethality plus the Muramana is the return of the poke build, basically. And it is Hail of Blades, because you're getting so much lane prowess there, and you're building so much flat damage that it has a lot of value for burst opportunities. You can also stack up the passives to be able to pop the passive for big amounts of burst damage very quickly with the Hail of Blades.
And also, Isles running the Glacial Augment here on the Thresh. We've been seeing this become more and more popular recently among a couple of different ports. Level 2's already been found, though. Let's see what it's going to mean. Isles has to flash away, but the flash after is there. And CLG finds a 2v2 first blood. Sven tries to escape. He's still got his flash ready. Sidesteps away. Oh, almost walked right back into the zap, but he'll stay alive. Flash intact.
Powder's mad. Did not like losing that first game. Even with strong play from bottom side, had to suffer an L. So Poom and Luger get right back to business as usual. This bottom lane, we've mentioned every single CLG game, Clayton, but they continually look for 2v2 aggressive opportunities, and especially early on. While pre-3 minutes, expecting the gank path heading up towards top side, it was a reverse there for Blabber back towards top side, back through the Raptors, up to the top side Crab. Here is the rocket, flip the switch replay. Boom, flipping the switch immediately onto Isles. Look at that, the timing there. He walks so close. When you get that close on Recon, pretty hard for Isles to react with the flay, and so boom, just pulls the trigger there. He flips the switch. He goes in for the short W. Doesn't get interrupted. Isles a little bit slow, a little bit late, but it's really hard at that range again to pull off a flay. And they get the engage. They're rewarded with the kill. First blood onto Luger, who has really become the one that all of the CLG fans have started to rely on and put so much of their hopes in these games on. Contracts.
Oh boy. Sven still has his flash to try to get away here. He's pulled to safety, doesn't even have to use it. Nice escape. Isles gonna even find Contracts there with a death sentence at the end to grab some extra damage on him, and Cloud9 evade that one nicely.
Yeah, nice evasive maneuvers there from C9. No extra summoner spells need be used. Again, they still have the flash on Sven, blasting for some extra bit of safety.
And there you can see that incredibly effective Akshan trading pattern. Also something that I want to point out, this is something that's pretty unique to Akshan compared to most champions in League of Legends. When they had him selected in the bottom left, I'll get back to it here in a moment, as CLG are going for the 4-man play against the 3-man squad on Cloud9. Blabber smites the Gromp, flashes away, but he flashes too late. You had to flash out of the way of the start of it, and that's another kill over to CLG. Luger chasing after Isles. Luger draws tower aggro, so not quite the best there. sets up Sven for the kill, and now they're going to look to see if they can find any more, but there is nothing to find. 1-for-1 trade here, bottom side.
Oopsie whoopsie there for Luger. That was some AD carry greed, trying to beat up on the old support under the tower, walks too close, takes the tower shot, and is punished by Sven. That flash came in handy, Flowers. He gets the distance. He's able to finish it off with the Q snipe. And there's the beginnings of the Muramana build we talked about from him, already purchased. Great attack here onto Blabber, though, to start it out for CLG. Contracts getting in there, Poom and Luger opening up the space, but he walks back in. And again, he actually walked through the distance that tower aggro will drop, but the travel time of the rocket he didn't account for, and the rocket then lands as he's stepping back into the range from the tower. So mismanagement there, not accounting for when the actual impact of the rocket hits. The tower finally registers, softens him up. Sven knocks him down.
Now, what I was going to talk about beforehand, because looking at Akshan, who's a champion we haven't got to see a lot of in pro play yet, in League of Legends, you almost always want at least 1 point in all of your abilities immediately. But Akshan's a bit of an exception to that. Yeah. You can see here, he's got 3 points in Q, 2 points in E, nothing in W. W doesn't do a lot for you early on, so players prefer to have just the extra all-in power of that additional point in the E instead.
Exactly, and it's even common in mid lane, where mid lane you would think, oh, he's going to be able to roam way more because you can go bottom also. But they also do it in mid lane, so don't get your W point until much later. It makes tremendous sense for top lane too, because you don't even have.
Where are you even gonna go?
Exactly. Where are you going?
Your teleport, even if you take one, is locked until 14. He's got Ignite anyway. All right, CLG's going in again. I like how aggressive they're playing this game around this bottom side after getting that advantage early on.
Yeah, I mean, CLG, I feel like they're retaining the learnings from game number 1. Right. Top lane. We cut that one off. We're completely ignoring it, as should be. They're focusing on this bottom lane. Powerfox is getting in on it too. Not only do they steal away, but they hand off the blue buff to the Vex for mid lane for constant pressure. And the biggest reward for them is all of this extra vision that they have here through this blue side and down towards the bottom lane. Vex, as we set up from Champ Select, is so potent when you have these early game skirmishes. Because of the range of the ultimate, you can join a lot of these plays from such a long distance, two-thirds of the way down river, be able to join and join it with a big impact of instant CC. Orianna has no such instant impact, has a much harder time answering Vex roams, and is looking to scale up there for Fudge for mid lane.
Oh, nice little catch there on Sven, who barely survives with the heal. He will get away, man, but CLG's bottom lane is looking beastly here in this game.
They certainly are. Definitely love to see the aggressive look, still firing away. Poom actually flashing to try and finish it off. Burns the cooldown, not able to get in range for the kill, so extra summer spell is given over, despite the fact that it was a well-won trade. That doesn't mean that Sven can hold on to that and be happy, because he's getting pushed off waves constantly, dropping in CS here, regardless of how cheap some of the lethality items are, and trying to build this lethality poke build. Muramana Parch trying to stack up your tier early on. It's definitely going to be felt. Shockwave combo.
Whoop! CLG barely getting the support away. Fudge goes in, and Fudge gets the kill. But now the comeback is a-coming. Isles tries to pull Fudge away to safety, and he does just that. Palafox and Luger cannot get one back, and C9 ties up the kill.
Good escape there for Cloud9 after securing the kill. Flash forward from Fudge. Shockwave also landed out of the kick from Blabber. So well-coordinated jungle mid synergy here. Scaling up there on the Orianna, plus being able to get that first kill feels quite nice for him. Teleports right back to lane. Yes, during that whole time, the objective was under attack by CLG, and Contracts also walks away with the Rift Herald though, so CLG still pretty happy about the opportunities they have to snowball this game. Pushed it forward, get some extra gold with that Rift Herald. The prize on the other side is countered by Cloud9. They'll happily at least pick up the Dragon. It's just Dragon number 1 though, and pretty much everybody will take the early trades of topside Rift Herald. You have to keep your eye on it though as far as the stacking. I think CLG feel confident with the way that their bottom lane has been playing though. Luger and Poom, constant pressure, and should be able to secure themselves some control for ensuring that C9 Dragon stacking doesn't get out of control super early on.
And one thing that's worth pointing out, because this first Drake was taken after 9 minutes, it means the second Drake will not spawn until after the teleports are unleashed. And the more important thing about that is that Darshan is running Ignite here in the top lane. So there is a teleport advantage for the side of CLG, which could end up being greatly in their favor for these Nets Dragon fights, depending on the timings and whether or not that cooldown is available. Contract summons up the Rift Herald here in the bottom lane. This turret is likely just going to fall completely here. Rift Herald almost has enough damage to get rid of it right now. There we go. Sven is not getting away. He's stuck around too damn long.
Oh, and the lantern in front of him and gets snared up. Then Contracts goes right over it, follows it with the stun. CLG, focus on bot. Never again will they deter. Keep pumping as much money as you possibly can into Luger Boom. They're creating opportunities. Contracts goes to play off this lane really well. And the best case scenario, they get 2 towers out of it. Jenkins, though.
Jenkins is not... Oh, they missed the Sonic Wave, but it don't even matter. Fudge takes the kill. Jenkins goes down, and now Cloud9 at least gets something back, but it's a very nice lead here early on. Over 2,000 gold ahead for CLG just 11 minutes in, Kobe.
Bobby, my boy, this is... the entire rest of the map is not in your control. Everybody else had exited the map or was showing bottom, and he gets picked off there on the control wards of Cloud9. So another rough one for him. However, this time around, the rest of the squad is dominating and creating this 2,000 gold lead in the favor of specifically Luger down there. 1,000 gold ahead on the Jinx, and will transition very nicely into these mid-game fights, especially since Puma's been very quick with his engages. Darshan actually under some fire.
Oh, stepping out of the way of the zap there that might have been able to claim his life. Fell down to nearly just 100 HP. CLG again trying to play aggro around Luger. They know this is the advantage. They know this is the point.
I like it. I like that. He's transcended.
Yeah. He gets the title.
The Luger is in the top lane, so it's fitting.
Yeah. Well, we got ourselves the Luger pushing towards that turret here for the second time, going after more of that plate money. They still got 1.5 minutes left of these to farm up as much money as they can.
It's cool. It sounds like some sort of artillery, you know, that you would have in Civilization or something you would build. He's got a fully operational Luger up in top lane, taking down the tower plates, earning the extra gold.
Well, I mean, it is a gun.
CLG working away.
So anyway, let's see what we got going on here if they can take the rest of this turret down. Luger wants to put as much damage into it as he can, but Darshan was hanging out the entire time. He tries to get himself away, and he avoids the ulti coming out from Poom. CLG will regroup around their carry, and they're just fine.
All right.
Here,
I learned.
I pulled up a picture of a Luger.
I'm looking. The reason I'm pausing is I'm looking at the picture.
Yeah.
That picture reminds me of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's like an Indiana Jones, like early 1900s type of guy. It's not a big artillery thing.
Yeah.
But this Luger might be a big artillery thing by the end of the game. He keeps scaling up.
It's going to be shortly. That's for sure. All right, Jenkins though. See if he does have teleport. It's not unleashed yet, but he's gonna have to try and survive the onslaught of Ukshin here. Darshan working away. Even though Darshan is a level down, still able to scare him off. There's 55 seconds left on that dragon fight. And your premise that she set up earlier, as far as teleport versus no teleport on Darshan, has already been subverted by Cloud9. They sent Fudge up to the top side of the map. Instead, rotated Darshan down to bottom. So they're accounting for the discrepancy in summoner spells. The preparation here for Cloud9 would lead you to believe that they actually do want to be in position to answer that play.
But I'm liking what I'm seeing from CLG because their gold lead is now 500 higher than the last time that I read it out. They were at 2.3K ahead. Now they're at 2.8. This team is continuing to build up some leads. They're continuing to put those leads on the right characters. Palafox, they're getting the gold from taking down that next turret there in the top lane. We've got 10 seconds until our second Drake spawns, and you can see everybody heading down around that south side river.
There's the teleport from the top side. Orianna, Fudge finishes up the last wave, teleports in time for the dragon setup. They do have the early move through the river and are able to get the pixel ward down before the fight starts. That's imperative as far as the setup here to allow time. Again, Sven needs to land poke for Cloud9 to have a good shot at this. They go in for the seal though. Lee Sin can have the execute, and
Jenkins is on the flank. He's coming in, but a beautiful engage from Poom with a follow-up Super Mega Death Rocket, but it is Poom to die first, and he's the only one dead thus far. The Drake still aggroed by the side of Cloud9. Contracts going in, but the Dragon goes over to C9 and Blabber. Contracts can get out, but the fight favors Cloud9 despite the engage from CLG.
Yeah, the biggest weakness of Rakan is death. Getting blown up.
No way!
Very squishy champions. So some champions don't have that weakness. You know, Karthus, Kog'Maw.
Yeah, you gotta really die to use the whole
Sion is probably the biggest offender. But Rakan, yeah, you're like, oh my god, look at this engage from Boom. He gets 4 people, and he's dead. So much burst damage just gets popped, flown off the map immediately, allowing for Cloud9 to actually get the rewards of transitioning over for this Dragon. And I was a little skeptical as far as investing the teleport and everybody coming over, but again, let's look at how he receives so much burst damage. Jenkins starts it out with the flame. There it is. The E engage actually got rooted up early, so it was delayed. The Varus ultimate had chained to him.
Oh no.
So it was engaged, and now Jenkins, we're back out to live, and Jenkins back in the dirt.
C9 is just eating Jenkins burgers, breakfast, lunch, and dinner this series.
We thought game 1 it was going to be the end of it, and it was going to be a clean slate here, fresh start for him, but it is rough. At least he has more gold than the supports this time around.
And hey, Luger is still 1,000 gold ahead of the next closest person, which is the enemy mid lane carry in Fudge. So they still have a big win condition here in this Jinx. Contracts is going to find Blabber. Viego is an incredible duelist, so the Lee Sin wants nothing to do with that, and they have to back away.
Certainly a fearsome opportunity for CLG as they have everybody around mid lane as well ready to capitalize. Even though Jenkins goes down, they're still going to be able to get this Rift Herald trade for bottom turret. Bottom obviously left exposed because Jenkins, the side laner, is picked off, and Fudge is the one who reaps the rewards. Full tower gold for him, able to get the solo gold on that outer turret picked up into the Orianna pockets. And Fudge he's really adapted to this mid lane more scaling style on all these picks. The Victor, the Corki, now the Orianna for himself. Mid lane's got to play, and Sven is chunked out, but Miles is there to get him out of trouble and evade the Pal Fox engage. It was off camera, but I'm assuming with the flash and ultimate both burned here from Pal Fox, was trying to pull off that kill in response to the extra distance there from the Thresh that they saw through the river. Not quite able to get it in time though. Some pretty big cooldowns used. The Flash of Vex is really big for these mid-game fights. The ultimate, though, not so much. That one comes up really quickly.
Right. And it is another Infernal Rift game. Cloud9 with those first 2 means that CLG is going to have to stop those Drake stacks here soon. However, with a gold lead, still having around that plus 2,000 mark, they will be in a decent enough spot to fight their opponents in open ground. It's not like the previous game where they wanted nothing to do with the fights.
Yeah, I also need to see something cool from the Uxin pretty soon here, I feel like.
Okay.
Because Darshan did have control of topside, you know, got his own CS lead, constantly had the push there, but since then has not had a huge impact on the game, is scaling up, has, I believe, 2 item power spike right now with the safety of a shield bow, so is scaling into that roaming and side laning monster that Cloud9 do need from him, but it's really hard to outscale a Gwen.
Yeah.
Plus, Gwen has some really strong team fighting opportunities for being frontline, whereas Uxin, you have to play the fight a lot more.
Oh, CLG's going in, and they got a lot of damage on C9, but no kills just yet. Isles is going to be the first to die. Jenkins goes underneath the turret, and Jenkins finds 2 3-for-1 trade. CLG.
All right, this one, they got to blow it wide open. CLG able to find the pick in the jungle, and Jenkins right through the tower. The Gwen picking up 2 in the aftermath. Perfect needlework right through both of them. Able to get some money onto him, and he is going to scale into a monster. This is after he already has Riftmaker. He's going to slingshot right ahead. It is enough time for C9 to try and respond for the Dragons. Again, the Dragons stacking is kind of their out for this game. But here's another look at them trying to go into Fog of War. Poom gets hooked in this time, but it doesn't matter. The double engage of a Vex and a Rakan. So much burst damage there. Luger's ultimate finding the two, softening them up so that Jenkins can get both of them. The range of the needlework with the Q on the front line there too. Snip, snip, finds the extra 2 kills. Here's the reset we were looking for, though.
Look at that damage.
Goose egg, and we wanted to see big things from the action. That was not big things.
Nope.
Was not there.
And we got 2,500 damage from the Vex in the previous fight. Now, of course, this is going to be the third Drake of the game for Cloud9, so they now pose the threat of Soul for every subsequent Dragon. That next fight will be happening just after the 25-minute mark. CLG still has their 3,000 gold lead. They're still feeling good about their ability to make things happen. They've got the Gale Force plus Rapid Fire Cannon here on the Jinx. Once Luger gets that third item, once that Infinity Edge is online, then C9's really sweating.
And just the range of their engage, we keep hammering it home. All these Cloud9 members are so squishy. When you are wielding Vex Rakan, some of the longest range and quickest engage opportunities that exist in League of Legends today, it's basically just set up your picks. As long as you have some Fog of War to work with, you have a very high percentage chance of grabbing someone. And then you just have to worry about the burst damage in return and getting blown up in response. Blabber, if he gets the kickoff quickly, can put a big stop to it, and Fudge has been pretty quick on the shockwaves as well. Remember the previous time around Dragon where Poom gets 100-0.
Okay, Cloud9. Grouped up as 5 right now. Of course, it only looks like they're grouped up as 4. Darshan creeping around here, camouflaged near the terrain. Remember, it lasts indefinitely as long as he doesn't leave that nice use of the immunity frame from Contracts.
Look at this route from Jenkins. He's got a clear route up towards mid lane, so Cloud9 realized they do not have enough warding for their flanks, retreating after that attempt. Sven and Fudge both have their flashes though, so at least the carries have the extra summoner spell to avoid getting reset on. The Doomsday scenario where Jenkins flanks you, then you also have the engage of Palafox Poom coming up the middle and resets for both Jinx and Viego.
Monk W.
Yeah, exactly. So as soon as you realize, oh, we don't have our perfectly warded flanks, you have to call it off because there's so many angles that CLG can come at you from, and one mistake does mean tremendous rewards for CLG. 3 minutes left on the Dragon Soul fight, and that is going to be the hopes and dreams of Cloud9. Getting to that point without giving up too much territory so that they would be able to try and cash in, basically.
Exactly. It's a huge power spike to grab that soul for them. It puts them back in a really close contest there with CLG, where CLG just feels like they are definitely the ones deciding things right now. Cloud9 very much in reaction mode. You got the stopwatch up and running here for Fudge, so he's got some outplay potential with that one. Again, a good opportunity to stop some of those resets that you're talking about. Serelda's Grudge completed on the Varus. You've also got him almost up to the point of the fully charged Muramana, but still not quite there. That is one of the problems for Varus compared to some of the other tier stackers, is he stacks it more slowly because he doesn't have a spammable spell. So that one's going to take a little bit more time to come online, but should definitely be there in time for the Drake fight.
Yeah, that's a really big power spike. Looking for 360 stacks on it. Does have plenty of DPS ready to go once that one transforms. Look at the harder job though. The fight over the vision. They've got Lantern to work with. They have Orianna Ball to work with. They need to poke and prod as cautiously as possible. Because again, no main tank this time around with Darshan playing Ukshin. They have to play the vision game.
Contracts walking away. C9 still looking to get whatever damage they can. Yazven lands a piercing arrow, but again, this Varus is not that far ahead. Oh, nice steal from Contracts. Cheeky there.
A little bit of a flex here as the rest of Cloud9 won't be able to punish anybody, even though you see 3 lanes exposed. CLG doing a good job pushing all 3 lanes.
Yeah, Jenkins is bottom. Nobody else is here.
Yep. Luger just finished up in mid as well, so pressure all 3 lanes, plus taking away the jungle camps. You're checking your boxes here for CLG, leading up to the big moment, Flowers.
Yeah.
Here it is, 1 minute ahead of the objective. You've got to recall, you've got to get your pinks now. This is the timing. It gives you enough time to recall and get back out to fight for positioning for your wards before this dragon gets there.
Okay, we got some pink wards on the side of Cloud9, pink wards on the side of CLG. Cosmic Drive done for the Gwen. There's your 2-item power spike. You've also got the Storm Razor completed on Darshan, so that means he's got 2 items here as well. Top laners round about the same spot. Big difference in junglers, however, as Contracts has his Sterix completed and Blabber does not. That shield is often the difference between life and death for these junglers when they go in. So Blabber has his work cut out for him here. No stopwatch on that Lee Sin either. Darshan creeping around the side here. He's going to see Poom.
Should go.
Doesn't go after him. Thinks maybe somebody else is there. Does not want to end up inting it away. Knows that this soul is very important.
Notice that CLG do a good job pushing that mid wave first as well to gain entrance. Top, mid, bottom, all pushing for CLG, preempting this objective spawn, giving them great positioning and flank.
Here we go. Poom with a 3-man knockup, and the follow-up is there this time. Cloud9, your fight is already over. CLG slam them 3-0.
And it's a White Flowers, all the build up for this. CLG are gonna fight back in this one. They defy these soul points. They wipe Cloud9 off the map. They can turn their sights towards Baron, but they want to chase down Blabber first, get that jungler off of the map. If they take him down with the delayed respawn timer compared to the rest of his team.
Oh, Blabber, that was an int, brother. That's not a good look. Darshan seeing if there's anything to salvage from this. He's going rogue. He's looking for the opportunity. He finds 2 of them, but that's 1 too many. The heroic swing comes out, and he gets the first kill. Shutdown goes through, but he can't quite take down Jenkins as well. 1-for-1 trade, while the rest of CLG will take Baron.
Would have been pretty sick if you pulled off the 2v1 there. Those are the highlights we want to see from an auction game, but he expected to only find a single member, and it's still going to be Baron buff on 4 members. Palfox won't receive his because of the 1v2 opportunity, and he goes down, but the rest of the team wearing purple should be enough for CLG to finish up these inner turrets. They should be able to crack some of these inhibitors, and look at it. Again, as we talk, all the pushing for CLG, every single side lane. Poom had already been hovering around bottom. They go straight up the middle. You have lightning fast engagements. Vex plus Rakan, quickest in the game right now. Just easily switch there for CLG. And what a turnaround from game number 1.
Yeah.
Jenkins fully scaled here on the Gwen, picking up the kills. He is a monster in the side lanes now with the Gwen. All you need is a Rift Maker plus Cosmic Drive. You can chase anyone down, chop them up, but also with the safety and the playmaking of the stopwatch, and Zhonya's coming in here. Should be effortless for CLG with this Baron buff to 4-1 and crack inside the extra turrets.
Yeah, they've got a 7,000 gold lead. Baron for the next 2 minutes. It's CLG's game to lose. Cloud9 has to find some way to dig in and defend here. CLG only has 1 tier 2 turret left to take. Poom has already popped the quickness, and he goes in looking for Fudge. Immediately gets the stasis out of the Cloud9 mid laner. Fudge survives, but the tier 2 will not. CLG's gonna build that lead even further, taking down that structure, and they got their eyes set on the base.
Plenty of time to work with as well. 3 more minion waves worth of Baron buff. Jenkins goes down mid lane. He's looking to usher this one up. The waves are desynced pretty heavily. If he had waited a little bit and let that wave actually just sit there and have the minions move up, looks like if he's able to clear out this one, they could try and time them accordingly to crash on top and crash in mid. But because Sven clears out the mid one, it's just going to be a single arm of pressure. That's enough for Luger to get a couple of rockets on the turret, though, knocking that one down to half, and then Jenkins will slip right in to do the same.
Jenkins just chopping away at that turret, has it down to just over half HP. Baron still on for another 50 seconds. Cannon minions, 2 of them piled up here in mid. Isle's just gonna flay them back so they can kill those things a little bit faster. CLG has no intentions of leaving all the way, though. They're just waiting for the minion waves to push up here. Contracts sitting around in the mist, seeing if somebody will walk too close. The Cloud9's playing it safe.
And I like it. This is the syncing that we're talking about, because the mid lane goes straight up, a shorter distance travel goes there quicker, and so just waiting around to try and sync them up so they crash at the same time, make C9 defend 2 points at once. It's just a slight optimization, so you have more opportunity to hit the towers, and they get both
of them. Now can they get anything else? Contracts, again, using the invulnerability frame there on the ulti to get himself away and make sure he doesn't get picked off. Jenkins continues to pressure the mid lane. CLG playing this really nicely. It'll be over 4,000 gold that they got from their Baron power play by the time it expires. Their overall lead, over 9,000 now.
Yeah, and because of the setup, it's just so difficult for Cloud9 to hang their game plan on anything other than picking off estranged members of CLG. If someone is walking alone by themselves through the jungle, and you're able to get a surprise pick, there's an opportunity. You do have a level 16 Orianna, so Fudge can actually have a pretty big impact with the shockwave if you find someone. Darshan's Uxtion already going to be hunting around to try and find those opportunities, but it is a bit difficult for this team. They have plenty of damage, just you have to have perfect setup to be able to make that happen and not give over counter kills. Sven walking through the jungle actually gets zapped, which is a huge chunk. Nice dodge there from Luger. Uses the Gale Force to dodge out on the ultimate.
All right, let's see how quickly CLG can go about ending this game, because it feels like it's just a formality at this point. They do want to make sure they deny this Drake. They don't want to give away that soul. That is one of the only ways Cloud9 could claw their way back into this game. So CLG will patiently force them out and secure the Drake first. But after that, there's 2 exposed inhibitors in the Cloud9 base, and they're all ripe for the CLG take.
Yeah, it's basically blunder insurance. If you make a blunder trying to end the game, you don't want the slingshot comeback to be a possibility there for Cloud9, cashing in on Soul. Regardless, now they've kind of afforded themselves. I would honestly say they could make a blunder and still be in a good position.
Yeah.
Although obviously you don't want to make one. Mid lane and top side are open. Should probably be a little bit more cautious and just 4-1. But they are trying to spread to all 3 lanes, and that gives an opportunity for Cloud9.
Oh, here goes Darshan. He tries to find the comeuppance on Luger, but he can't quite get it in time. They will both die together. Luger and Darshan traded as Cloud9 managed to find an extra one on top, taking out Poom. Meanwhile, it's Contracts and Jenkins saying, you can kill our guys, but we're going to kill your base. Mid lane inhibitor's gone, top lane inhibitor's gone. Huge map pressure advantage here for CLG.
Yeah. I still think, all things said and done, a little bit more caution and maybe doing 4-1 instead of pushing all 3 just towards the exposed inhibitors with the lead that CLG have and the length of the engage they can go for with Poom, with Palafox. They've got such a massive advantage. They can just kind of smash them over the head with it, with all the extra gold. But Cloud9 very happy to get at least the pickoff on bottom side. Yes, it's incredibly difficult to fight a scenario where Baron is back out on the map and you're missing 2 inhibitors, mid and top, so you constantly have to deal with the homework of clearing out super minions, pushing into your base.
Yeah.
But they got a bit of gold, cashing in on those kills on bottom side. And I think it could have been a worse scenario if it just came straight up mid.
Darshan again creeping around here in the jungle, utilizing the power of his camouflage to just try and get whatever extra information he can find. Baron is now back alive. CLG's players died at just the right time. They respawned about 10 seconds before it did, so they're ready to go.
And as Cloud9, why they're kind of happy with getting those 2 kills in exchange for inhibitors is they've got, again, the long-range Varus poke that is now online. So he's 3-item poke Varus. Plus the Orianna, fishing around for vision. Darshan constantly sneaking through. And they know they're at a huge disadvantage, but they are sneaking around to try and find those opportunities. Wow, the gold will continually march towards them. If they are able to defend long enough for those to respawn and not give up the Baron to CLG, which is going to be a very difficult task.
Oh, Sven! He's in trouble here. Contracts going in for him. Jenkins and Poom coming up right behind as Palafox has found his way into the back line and looks for Fudge. He won't get the reset just yet, but they will find a kill onto Isles instead. Traded 1-for-1 with the CLG support. Sven gets snipped, and he's gone. Cut right away from Summoner's Rift. And it's a CLG fight, 2-for-1. They'll head right back over to Baron.
And critically, the poke, the range damage that can come over the back of Baron Pit is gone. Varus is dead. Fudge is chunked out. He has no flash either to walk back over. So that is a huge win for CLG. Kind of the final step that you have to take. Now with 2 inhibitors plus a Baron buff to bolster your pushing, it is so easy to play the entire 3 lanes, push all the way up to the base, close the loop here on Cloud9, and finish what you started. You have your engage opportunities ready. There are very few defenses that C9 can muster. And apart from them jumping out on the map super early and trying to, pick somebody from CLG who's moving ahead of the rest of the squad, it is going to be the Hail Mary.
It's looking grim for the side of Cloud9 right about now, but CLG has done a wonderful job responding here in game number 2 after the poor game number 1 they had.
Yeah, let's review, because game number 2 is so much cleaner for them. From the very start of the game, Contracts focusing on bottom side. Luger and Poom earn their own advantages, getting their 2v2 kill onto Isles and Sven, and then Contracts visiting down there multiple times to play off this bottom lane and trying to deny some resources and this control of this side of the map from Cloud9. They're able to play off bottom lane, mid constantly roaming there with Palafox on the Vex and threatening. Plus, Jenkins scaled really well this time around, gave up a couple of stray deaths on some map movements, but CLG so much better this time around in game number 2. Very well-deserved position that they're at in this game right now, where you just got to topple it over. 1 tower left before they get right up to the Nexus turrets and march on into the base. Jenkins has those mid minions moving nicely. Super minion heading straight up. Tower's almost gone.
Well, Luger did lose half HP to a single arrow coming out from Sven. They got to be aware of that, but they don't even need to. Blabber is gone, and boom, baby, y'all better run scared, because here comes Vex. CLG, they're going for the throat, they're going for the win, and they're going to game number 3 as they find their revenge. A triple kill. Jinx is no stranger to those, and we're going for the Nexus. See y'all in game 3.
Powder, powder, powder. Luger shows up, the rest of CLG shows up, entire team victory there. Really nice bounce back. It's good to see in a best of series, They did get slammed really hard in game number 1, but strong mental by the entire team, especially Jenkins.
Yup.
After the beating that he received. So we are going to a game number 3, baby. We called it.
We did.
Talking about we're going to be the ones giving you more games today. Get some of those upset wins. Keep them coming.
That's what I like to see, man. We get to go to the 3rd game. Everything else, we were talking about like how a lot of the quarterfinals coming into it, a lot of people were probably expecting a bunch of these to be 2-0s, and we've been able to see some 2-0s thus far. Now, granted, some of those 2-0s were more expected than others.
What's the name on this 2-0?
Yeah, exactly. But hey, we're going to 3. CLG have answered back, and they're keeping those lock-in dreams alive. We're going to toss things over to the State Farm analyst desk to talk a little bit more about it.
Damn right, Captain Flowers. Our first 3-game best of 3 in the quarterfinals.
There we go.
And it comes at the hands of CLG. Palafox said in his interview, "Don't count us out. We are the kind of team that can surprise and take down Cloud9." They do it here in game 2, and they push us to that 3rd and final game.
They did it through their bot lane.
They did it through the bot lane.
I love this bot lane.
Woo!
They're crazy contesting the 2v2. I love it.
And we're going to get to all the great stuff that they did in the bot lane. I will say, though, I think we need to take a quick pit stop in Champion Select and call out what a wildly different looking draft this is from Cloud9 to what their first game was and how it didn't necessarily impress.
Yeah, I think LS is co-streaming these games, so I didn't hear his opinion on the lot less focus of scaling in front-to-back team fighting compared to the first game. I have to assume he wasn't happy. Varus, Akshan, Lee Sin, a lot more early game oriented and focusing on skirmishing and trying to push advantages in lanes.
Yeah, and just in general, in ease of execution, we've seen this from 100 Thieves comps, having Jinx and Varus, just anything where it comes to, you just get that first kill, and that first possession, you could just snowball it from there. And they even double down. I mean, this is, I think, the 2nd win that we've seen from Palafox's Vex, so big thumbs up on that one. And I mean, it was just, there were a lot of team fights where it was just played to perfection, so.
Varus getting picked up. We know it's a favorite of Sven down there in the bot lane, but again, wasn't played to brilliant effect. In fact, it was that CLG bot lane that gets the first kill.
Well, I think it's exactly like Raz says, right? If you're going to be contesting the 2v2 this early, as soon as they get these kills in lane, that shifts the dynamic of the lane automatically over to the Jinx Overcon. challenge.
And that was a small mistake there by Isles. The rocket AoE got them to level 2 faster than I think he knew it would happen because he starts to position aggressively. And then just Poom and Luger just have this understanding of when they want to go and they double flash in. They try and snowball so hard through bot lane. It wasn't perfect the entire time. Luger got sniped one time, but they at least know their identity as a team.
And we've seen this from CLG already in this tournament, where once they do get these advantages, they do recognize in their compositions, this is where we need to play around. We saw it from the TF game, and then we saw it from their bot lane performance here.
I mean, just taking a look at this early game, and I mean, it's just spotless from Luger. He's playing exceptionally, and I mean, as you can see throughout this game, they kept going towards the bottom side of the map because he's just their win condition, and it came out to fruition.
Yeah, that was first for 80 carries, but he was also close to first for everyone in the league. In terms of early game playmakers and who you can play around to get your team kickstarted, Poom and Luger are looking like some of the best options in the entire LCS right now.
Yeah, exactly. You can't ignore the fact that it is the two of them as a duo. And yes, we've called out a few of the mistakes. Hey, I would rather see those and have them keep trying at those big plays, those winning plays for CLG, and have the faith that they will workshop it into a place of consistency by later into the season. Let's take a look at a massive team fight, though, here. The Vex engage. Love to see it out of Palafox.
It's huge when it works out. I know the previous team fight where you couldn't get his ultimate off, they were stuck and lost the kill, but when you were able to hit it, especially when the Rakan is getting chased out, I was like, wait a minute. This is a perfect look. Boom just goes, and the follow-up is there. So it's beautiful to see the coordination work out for CLG.
So I am very much not sold on Akshan so far, as we've seen it here in the LCS. Granted, it has only been Cloud9 so far that has pulled it out, but to losses in those cases.
They won the first game.
Or they won, or sorry, he just got dumpstered in lane.
It wasn't.
That's what I'm remembering.
It was an
Apologies.
impressive.
He did not
like an
he did not play a role in that
I'm
victory,
just
I
saying,
guess, is
the
maybe the
win
way I
rate.
should have said it.
Not zero.
Statistically, you're right.
So I'd like to see them move away from that in game number 3 as they hop back over to the blue side. But that's kind of where I actually want to take the approach of, with them returning to the sides from game number 1 and Cloud9 having picked up that victory, the Corki obviously played a massive role as the first pick in that draft case. So is it as simple as a ban here coming out of the CLG side, or is there a better trade opportunity for them in giving that away?
Not so much. I liked C9's creativity in their draft. I think the problem with this one is that it just wasn't coherent. Specifically, when I see Poke Varus, I was happy to see Poke Varus come into the LCS. But a lot of the times, internationally, when you see Poke Varus, it works with either Corki, Zoe, Jace, something, so there's a follow-up to that poke, right? That there's actually, so you have that, and the Orianna can be used for a hyper carrier or something that you can play more front to back. So in terms of like a direction for this composition, there really wasn't much post early game. So that's just what I would like to see, something where there is a general direction with the comp.
For me, looking at the CLG side of it, banning the Corki this time on red side, I would love to see that. And I really like them in these kinds of press R team comps. Like this was Rakan go in, group them up for the Vex AoE to then hit everyone with the fear. Like that was kind of how it was built to work. Things like Camille Galio could work as well because we see how good Palafox is at working around his team. Something like that, I think, is what I want to see them go for here in game 3.
Yeah, and then I think the difference between these teams is I have a lot more faith in C9 in terms of mid to late, right? So if they do go for a scaling composition, I think they should be able to close out the series because of that. Whereas when we see CLG, I think they're great in games like this, right? Where even when they make mistakes, they know exactly where they want to target off of early advantages they do get. So if they have a team composition where they can get early advantages, specifically through bot 2v2, I'm going to keep harping on it because Poom and Luger are so good. They should be able to snowball the game from there, even if they make mid to late mistakes.
Speaking of that, get rid of Jinx for Luger. My God. He's got it every single game but one, which was the
Put him back on the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, if you can knock him on the Kog'Maw, great. I don't think he's going to go back there,
No,
but
I
at
don't
least
think
get the
so.
Jinx out of his hands. He looks like the best Jinx in the league right now.
Yeah, totally fair, totally fair. We saw a bit of that stubbornness that we talk about with Cloud9 in the late game in this second game, even though it was a loss. Couple moments where it almost slipped away from CLG, you know, people getting run down in side lanes, and that would be my fear in a game number 3 if Cloud9 does take a very stable scaling composition, is that CLG, they're not afforded too many opportunities to make mistakes and still come out with the win.
Exactly, which A, I'm happy that it is going the distance to a third game, but B, what does matter is the losing team, how long they can hold on. Because if they can hold on, if they can stagnate it, this one, they were too damn close to a soul. then it doesn't bode well for CLG. So I want to see if they can learn with the limited time that they have from now to the last game of the series.
You also mentioned just the Dragon Soul there. We had a brief conversation off camera kind of around, C9's objective control, Drake specifically. Mark, I'm going to hand it to you because I think you were the one with the stat offhand, or was that you, Emily? Who had the
It was
stat
81%.
81%. So,
Or,
I mean...
this was mid-game, so I don't know if it changed or not.
Of course. But it just goes to illustrate again that this team operates very well around those global objectives. And it was that dragon fight that CLG was able to, win this game off of. And so I have a feeling we're going to be kind of isolating that bot river again to figure out where the breaking point for this next game will be. The series, though, it's all tied up. When we return, we'll see if Cloud9 or CLG can take it all and push themselves to a semifinal. Don't go anywhere.
"強く輝いて消えた長い